grounds of Kingsway High School in Woolwich Township, New Jersey, Comcast Sports presents high school football. Today it's Thanksgiving, and the Kingsway Dragons host the Clearview Pioneers. Hello again, everyone. Rob Christ along with my partner, Shawn Leary. You can see the opening kick underway here. A beautiful afternoon, unseasonably warm temperatures, and a great day for football. And what better way to kick off our Thanksgiving coverage than with two traditional rivals, two next-door neighbors, Clearview and Kingsway.
Yeah, this is one of the real good Thanksgiving Day rivalries. Just started about a decade ago, and it's exciting to be here. This is the first Thanksgiving game that we've done in a very long time.
First pass is tipped up and knocked down. Rondell Gilmore, the freshman quarterback, in for Kingsway. And Kingsway, a team with a 3-6 mark. A couple big wins during the year over Gloucester Catholic and Deptford, but of course there would be no bigger win for this Kingsway team than to beat their arch rival, the Clearview Pioneers.
I believe that was Judah Eisenhart showing a little ups there, being able to tip that pass. Rondell Gilmore, the freshman quarterback, the younger brother of Dorian Bryant, the kid who had a storied career here at Kingsway, now playing at Purdue and projected to be going in the NFL draft at some point this year.
Gilmore again throws it up, and jump ball almost brought down. Intended for T.J. Pratt, our 6'2 junior. That'll bring up third down. And Shawn, already two passes here from Kingsway. This is a program that traditionally likes to keep the ball on the ground.
Right, and I'll tell you what, they do like to run the ball, but they think that with Rondell Gilmore they can open it up a bit. In fact, in Tony Barchuk, let's take a look at the starting offensive line first with Jordan Kane, Rinaldi, Vergera, Susnick, and Stein. Brian King, who's limpy a little bit, but he's going to play today. Rashid Williams, Kevin McCauley, T.J. Pratt, and Jeff Marona is the tight end for the Dragons.
Third down, Gilmore throws across the middle, has a man and caught for the first down. And that is why head coach Tony Barchuk really likes the freshman. A good, strong throw as Gilmore rolls to his right. First down, Dragons.
Yeah, finds the tight end who's 6'2", 170 pounds. He's going up against the defensive ends today of Chad Grabanese and Eric Sheridan. Two good ones. Inside, Lasowski, a monster with Sylvan Hopkins. Eisenhart and Betterson join Aliberti in the linebacking core, and the secondary is Potts, Eisenhart, and Cacciola, two seniors and a junior. I see Eisenhart, who also doubles as the quarterback on offense. Rob, getting back to that point where we talk about Kingsway running the ball, grinding it out on the ground. One of the things that Kingsway did when they had Eric Fromm at quarterback was change the offense. And with Dorian Bryant that was able to split out and also see some time in the backfield, they were able to win a group championship, and I think that was Tony Barchuk's best year of coaching because he changed to his personnel. I think the mark of a terrific coach, and he may do that a little bit more as the years go on. There you see Tony with Rondell Gilmore at quarterback. You can do some extra things with the athletic Gilmore, who has not only a terrific arm but excellent speed that can get to the outside and hurt you as well.
First down and 15 for Gilmore and the Dragons. The handoff, and not a whole lot there. We'll call it two, as it was Brian King, the senior, and you mentioned a little hobbled today, but Brian King and the rest of these seniors, it's going to be hard-pressed to keep them out of the lineup the last time they'll suit up for their respective alma maters.
Yeah, he had one of those high ankle sprains, and that's kind of set him back. But he's getting some good looks. This is a kid who has broken off some big games, including the one where he had over 300 yards. Had some athletic family members as well. His mom played track, father played football and basketball, his brothers played football and basketball.
And Gilmore now again, empty backfield, will roll out, throws it up in the air, and almost caught. A tremendous leaping opportunity for Pratt. Could not come down with it as he attempted to draw the ball in. It looked like it was up for grabs for anybody, and out of nowhere came Pratt.
For the Dragons.
Yeah, you can see that Pratt's a nice target. He sets up in the middle of that field at 6'2" and causes the problem. When you have that 52 defense, Rob, obviously you're trying to gain a pass rush, but 53 defense. But sometimes that will open it up, especially if you're able to spread the linebackers to the outside. That's what they're trying to do, is get Pratt over the middle, where he can get one-on-one coverage with somebody in the secondary or linebacker.
Out of the shotgun, Gilmore will keep, and he'll be brought down very close to the line of scrimmage. So that'll bring up a 4th down, and the Dragons forced to punt it away.
Yeah, cut down by Judah Eisenhart, who may be considered as one of the Defensive Player of the Year candidates in Gloucester County. Cousin of Ed Eisenhart, the quarterback.
Punt almost blocked high, will bounce and will be taken at the 42-yard line, and a return of about 13 yards. Clearview will start in excellent field position inside Kingsway territory.
Good field position for the Pioneers, coming off a nice win against Ocean City where they were able to shut them out, and they had the advantage, at least with coming in with some momentum, although it's been a couple of weeks now where Kingsway was handled by Triton.
Handoff, and not a whole lot there. Clearview coming into this year a mark of 6-3 after defeating Ocean City, as you mentioned. 1 power point shy of making the playoffs, and that has to be heart-wrenching for both Coach Pidcock and his players, but they had opportunities falling to Williamstown and Gloucester Catholic and Delsea.
Yeah, you see the 6'3", 185-pound senior. Clearview over the years has had some really nice quarterbacks, and this kid falls right into that mold.
Eisenhart's play action pass is picked off and brought down. Rashid Williams, the sophomore, read Eisenhart, and we do have a penalty flag on the play. Looks like in the area of holding.
Yeah, this came late. I think this was after the play. Yes, that's going to pull him back a little bit, but Rashid Williams doing a nice job of reading that play. A poor pass by Eisenhart.
During the return, illegal block in the back on the receiving team. 10 yards, first down.
And I don't really think he saw Rashid Williams there, because he threw it right to him. It didn't seem like he spotted him. And Williams, one of the good young sophomores for Kingsway that I think has Tony Barchuk and the staff excited about his athleticism and how he's shown some glimpses as a sophomore. He's 5'8", only 150 pounds, but has terrific speed.
The penalty will back up the Dragons to their own 41-yard line, but their best field position thus far. 1st and 10 for the freshman quarterback, Rondell Gilmore. And I think there's movement here, so 3 early penalties already. Talk a little bit about Clearview here, Shawn. This is a team, as I mentioned, heartbroken, just 1 point shy on power points of making the playoffs. A team that could have easily folded. They came out, played a great game last week against Ocean City. And Coach Pidcock said this is a team that's really ready to play today.
Yeah, talking with Coach Pidcock before the game, he said, we really fielded a very young team who had a lot of inexperience, really wasn't sure what he had going into the season. But you got to give credit to some of the seniors and the way some of these guys have played, with Lasowski on the line, Judah Eisenhart, Ed Eisenhart, who's a terrific quarterback. They've had a couple of runners who's had some decent years. You got to give credit to the offensive line, the coaching staff at Clearview, because looking at it coming in, they were really short-handed, losing a lot of its players, and that happens to every coach every year. But Clearview was able to put together a fine season. 6-3, not too shabby.
I believe there was another penalty call on that play. I believe it was illegal motion, and that will result in another penalty.
Illegal motion on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
3 plays, 3 penalties, and this is not something you typically see at the end of a year.
No, but this is still a Kingsway team. You talk about losses and trying to replace guys at pretty much every position was the Dragons. It's a tough year for Tony Barchuk and company, but just so many positions to fill, so many holes, and they had a couple of excellent efforts during the season.
At this point, Kingsway's running game has gone for negative yardage.
Yeah, they have a very young team, does the Dragons, but a team that I think you look toward the future and you got to be pretty excited if you're a Kingsway fan. You're coming out supporting this team. You know, with Gilmore at quarterback, you have guys like Williams. There's so many guys that you can build on. There's a tremendous list of juniors and sophomores on the roster.
McCauley was the ball carrier now. Again, the handoff, and they're going to try to string it out. And Clearview again does an excellent job keeping Brian King. And one of the concerns of Coach Pidcock was the speed and ensuring that Kingsway does not get outside the tackles. Good effort there by the Clearview defense to ensure that, in fact, did not happen.
Yeah, this is a guy who has good skills. One of the things he's needed to work on during the season is his power between the tackles and his footwork. You know, he's been able to do that somewhat and had a terrific game against Highland. He had a couple of touchdowns and interception. But Brian King, no stranger to big games. We talked about his terrific game last year. There's Coach Pidcock for the Pioneers. Has some experience himself.
Third down. Williams hands it off, and not much there, a pickup of just a couple. So very conservative play calling there after throwing the ball early, continuing to pound the ball inside, and despite the interception, Clearview dodges a bullet.
Well, that's the thing where, you know, you want to throw when the defense isn't aware of it or expecting it. You know, when you throw because you have to on third and long, you put the young freshman in a bad situation where he can make a mistake. Kingsway confident in its defense where it can get the ball back.
Another low punt, and this ball will just simply be down at about the 36-yard line as the Clearview return team yields. And Shawn, let's talk a little bit about this rivalry. This is well, first let's talk a little bit about the Clearview Pioneers starting offensive line. I'll let you do the...
Well, this is one of the reasons why they've had some success. You see the four seniors with Hopkins, Judah Eisenhart, sick of the only junior, Lasowski, who's been a terrific player this season for the Pioneers, and Dante Silva. The running backs is Potts, Cacciola, Betterson, Sheridan at fullback, and Chad Gravenese.
And the handoff. Potts picks up about 8 yards.
See Nevin Potts, number 3, and there you see the 4-3 defense of the Dragons with Vergara, Webb, Kane, and Clark, who'll be your down linemen. DeSimone, Susnick, and McCauley, the linebackers. Some underclassmen there. You see the only senior. We talk about how young this team is. One senior in the starting lineup. Kevin Kinsella, Rondell, Gilmore, Pratt, and Williams. I'm not sure that Kinsella's playing today. We'll have to keep an eye out to see if he does get on the field.
Eisenhart strung out, but he'll keep, and he'll pick up what should be enough for the first down.
Yeah,
Eisenhart just kind of freelancing and doing a nice job, as he always does. Eisenhart has really been a major part of this team, if not the star of the team.
Yeah, and you know, he had a lot of help coming in because his brother played quarterback, played the same position, able to really see what he did. I mean, yeah, that says a lot. When you have an older sibling that is able to play that same position and you work out with them, whether it's in the backyard, you're going to pick up so many things and be able to really learn that. And I think he's done an excellent job of just managing that quarterback spot and being a leader on this team. Not a guy who's tremendously vocal, but certainly a guy on the field that you look up to.
A handoff, pickup of about 2. As you can see, the turf perhaps playing a little role there.
I believe that's Justin Betterson. Guy plays a little basketball, a little football. And one of the things that he's had a terrific game against Cumberland this year, but one of the things I think he's improved on a little bit is his blocking. And that's so important in this backfield. We have so many guys who line up behind center. You need fullbacks like Sheridan, guys like Pedersen to be able to protect the quarterback, block for the halfback.
Eisenhart flushed out of the pocket, throws, has a man wide open, and overthrows Pedersen. Well, again, you see some of the freelance ability of Eisenhart, and just a little too strong on the throw.
And that's just poor footwork, Rob, on that play. And usually when you have a guy who's not going to be able to set up and kind of throws off that back foot, you'll see the ball go high from the quarterback spot. You know, that's where when you're going to make a mistake with your footwork, usually that ball is going to sail on you. It's not something that's going to be short hop. That ball gets away from him, although he's trying to roll out. He had his man open.
Eisenhart, the pitch back, and now a little razzle-dazzle. Eisenhart breaks one tackle on his feet, cuts back, spins, still moving, and a big play by the Pioneers. A little trickery here, and the Pioneers benefit.
You always see that from Dan Pidcock, and we talk to so many coaches through the season. They say, who's the hardest guy, hardest coach to game plan against? And to a coach, they always say Coach Pidcock in the World Division, because he'll come up with so many different wrinkles, so many different looks in offense. And that time you see the inexperience of Williams, where he has them in the backfield but isn't able to wrap up and hold. They like the sophomore. That's one of the things he's going to need to improve on, and will, as time goes by.
Sheridan right up the middle. Sheridan into the secondary, cut down finally by T.J. Pratt. A big first down, and the Pioneers continue to move the football.
Well, he's a big, strong runner. We saw him have a terrific game against Deptford, probably one of his best games. This is a kid that just loves the sport, really improved, probably the most improved player on this team from the start of the season.
1st and 10 now, inside the 20. First time either team is in the red zone. Pedersen with Sheridan leading. He'll pick up 3 or 4. And Shawn, you asked specifically that question, Coach Pidcock. You know, who's been the player that has really surprised, who has really evolved, and he talked about Sheridan.
Yeah, this is a kid that he just, comes from a family who loves football. Big Notre Dame fan, big Eagles fan, just loves to watch football.
He's having a tough year this year. He's a Notre Dame and an Eagles fan.
Lucky the Pioneers are 6-3.
2nd down, we'll call it 6 for Eisenhart with Sheridan and Pedersen in the eye. Pedersen finds the hole, cuts inside, spinning, still on his feet. Touchdown! Tremendous run by Pedersen, and Clearview strikes first. They're on top 6-0.
A 14-yard touchdown run by number 14, Justin Pedersen.
What an effort by Pedersen. Yeah, that's just will. When you get to that spot on the field and you have a couple of guys on, you just slipping, turning, willing your way into the end zone. And Justin Pedersen, who's been one of the top offensive threats for the Pioneers, is able to get on the scoreboard first here. Just 2:41 left in the first quarter.
The extra point is up, and it is good.
That's crushed.
So Clearview on top 7-0 after the 14-yard touchdown run by Justin Pedersen.
Clearview's got to be real happy the way they're moving the ball between the tackles with Sheridan and also Pedersen. And that's obviously exciting for the Pioneers to start a game where you can move it through the middle. A team that's built its offense around pushing people around, moving the ball between the tackles, and being able to shoot to the outside. And everything that they do offensively with the running game will set up the pass for Eisenhart. If you're able to suck those linebackers and safeties in, they'll try and look for Gravenese over the middle. They'll get Pedersen to the outside, and that'll open things up for this Pioneer offense.
There you see Tony Barchuk, the head coach of this Kingsway team for quite some time, and he is no stranger to this rivalry. Again, nothing better than Thanksgiving Day football. Clearview trails the series 12-8, so Barchuk has had the best of this Pioneers program of late. Clearview has kind of picked things up. Long kick, taken inside the 5-yard line and right up the gut. Still on his feet. A good individual effort by Rashid Williams. And Kingsway will start at about the 28-yard line.
This is a big game not only for Clearview and Kingsway. This is also a big game for John Mondelli and myself. We have a lunch that we annually put on each other for the winner.
You put it on one another? And
well, I'm
not
Clearview,
sure I would
obviously, with
any lunch off of you.
No.
There you see John Mondelli.
Disturbing fall. There you see Mondelli. He's sporting
he looks a little nervous with the 7-point deficit.
Well, he's going to the old school jean jacket. You know,
nice.
He's brought that out from high school, and he's now wearing that. Maybe trying to bring the Dragons a little luck.
He's waking the echoes. And again, there looks like there may be a penalty flag here. John Mondelli, of course, does our high school sports report. He's kind enough to have you on that show.
Now, he claims this is his final year.
Offense. 5-yard penalty.
This has been a problem with the Dragons is they can't seem to sit right in that on offense. But you know, Mondelli says this is his last year, which is I think he said that now for the last 15 years. And I still don't believe him until he's not sitting in that seat next year. But we could be running down to the final John Mondelli High School sports report, at least for football.
Maybe
I'm not sure what he's going to do with the wrestling.
Excuse you ask him, well, what's that all about? And he says, yeah, that was last year.
maybe. But I don't know. I'd like the look though with the jean jacket.
You like that?
I bet you all the kids will be doing it next
You
week.
think he rode his 10-speed over there, Tom?
Yeah. He does live down the street. He probably could. Rock the 10-speed down there. Highway.
And again, the handoff, just absolutely nothing there, as the Clearview line has really controlled this game in the first quarter.
Certainly one of the reasons why the Pioneers are 6-3 is the defensive line. Anchored by Lasowski, and not a name that coming into the season a lot of people really knew about, but Lasowski, he's a big kid, got terrific size, has worked on his footwork, and I think a lot of people are really excited about 71, even though he's a senior and he's going to move on. They really like the 225-pound what he brought this season.
And Gilmore gets outside the tackles, tackled by Betterson. Some positive yardage here.
It looked like Hopkins. Good hustle down the field for Hopkins. Betterson coming up to make the tackle, and it's going to bring up a third and maybe about 4 yards. But that run allows Kingsway, even though with the penalty and not being able to move the ball on first down, sets them up where they can do some different things, have the option to either run or pass here.
Pickup of about 11 and a timeout called by the Dragons. Clearview on top 7-0. Justin Betterson with the touchdown scamper. Let's talk, Shawn, a little bit about what's going on. Some of the big Thanksgiving Day football rivalries. First of all, locally, going on as we speak, Woodbury and Gateway, and that's a series that Woodbury has increased their lead of late. They have a 19-10 overall lead in that series. One of the biggest ones locally, of course, is Gloucester and Gloucester Catholic. And that one is very, very tight. Gloucester Catholic trailing, actually, in that rivalry by 1. And
that's not a surprise either. And that's probably, when you're talking about a rivalry, that's probably the one you really think of here in our area, at least. Now, we talked about this on High School Sports Report, where you've got two teams who really dislike each other.
Gloucester leads that series 16-15-1, and a series that has evolved more recently, Glassboro and Deptford, with Deptford leading 7-6-1. I would think that Glassboro the favorite today. Williams throws, and the out pattern, unable to hook up. I should say Gilmore trying to find T.J. Pratt.
It's Nick Cacciola slipped on the play. 5'9", 160-pound junior. Slipped in coverage. But nonetheless, the ball fired to the outside. Again, you see the inexperience of Gilmore, and you're going to have that for the young player. He's going to make mistakes.
End over and punt, and it's fumbled and fallen on by Cacciola. So once again, Clearview will have excellent field position. They've had tremendous field position throughout this morning. And we're just about at the minute mark remaining, 1:02 left in this first quarter. It's really been all Clearview.
Yeah, they just defensively, they're just setting up the offense. Kingsway with mistakes. You can't start your drives by committing penalties. And you get a little jumpy. I know it's exciting for these kids. They're pumped. They're Thanksgiving. They got a big crowd. Channel 5's here, and they're excited, but you got to be able to hold your position. Don't make the mistakes and force your team in a bad spot on first down.
Left side. This is number 14.
And the handoff, not a whole lot there. And, you know, some of the other rivalries locally, of course, you have Camden and Woodrow Wilson. Both of those programs, 1-8. Very surprising because typically a lot of good football coming out of Camden, but that should be a good one. Don't forget, of course, you have Shawnee and Lenape and Seneca and Cherokee, so the 4 Lenape district schools, and another huge one, Cherry Hill East versus Cherry Hill West.
Well, there's a couple big ones that mean something this week with Washington Township and Eastern on Friday night, and Williamstown-Delsey to decide the rural division in the Tri-County.
Sheridan again with an immense hole, and he'll pick up plenty there. A gain of about 11. So Sheridan continues to find big holes. Shawn, you could have run through that one.
Yes, I probably could have, not for much yardage, but could have maybe slipped through. 6'1", 200 pounds, and Sheridan's a thick kid. Again, I can't emphasize enough the different fullbacks that Clearview's had. They're going to wind down the first quarter here. It all starts with a fullback in this Clearview offense, and Clearview over the years have had some very powerful blockers and, more importantly, some runners who can pick up huge yardage up the middle. Sheridan, no exception.
We're done with one here on Thanksgiving. Clearview by 7.
That could go either way.
Welcome back to Kingsway High School. Happy Thanksgiving, Shawn. Clearview on top, 7-0.
Same to you. Hey, first thanks
to you and your family.
Thank you very much, and same to you and yours and everyone in the truck and everyone that works with us. I want to give a thanks to all the coaches, all the volunteer coaches, the head coaches, because I know it's a thankless job, and if any time you should thank your coach, you should. You should every day. Especially all the effort that they put in, not only trying to make these kids better on the field, but also in life. So my thanks, I want to give it to all the coaches, not just the football coaches, the field hockey coaches, cross-country coaches, tennis coaches, all of them. That
Sheridan again still driving forward. He'll pick up about 8 yards. And on that note, Shawn, I want to thank all of the coaches as well on behalf of Comcast for all the help that they give us. Be it providing insight,
ADs.
providing, absolutely. So
people who give us the programs, even if they are a little late, they still, and that's not a knock at them. They honestly, the people that help out during the year in high school athletics in every way, shape, or form.
Second down, about 6. Eisenhart hands off again to Sheridan. This time he's stopped. And that's the key, really. You can't allow Sheridan to gain any momentum.
Nope. And they stack him up at the line. That's the junior, Kevin McCauley. 5'10", 195-pound junior who's just firing through the line. Nice job by him being able to stack him up. And you're right, Rob. You don't want to allow Sheridan with a 200-pound frame to gain momentum through the line, because that's difficult for a linebacker to stick him and hit him at the point of impact, not allow him to get that extra yards.
So a key third down. It may be 4-down territory. Eisenhart with Sheridan in the backfield. They'll roll to his right. Throws the out pattern underneath. And well covered. Absolutely nothing there. He had someone open a little bit up top. Decided to go underneath and hit immediately.
Yeah, I don't know if he just didn't see him at all, but it looked like that might have been.
And because they lost yards after the hit by T.J. Pratt, Clearview will punt it away and pin Kingsway deep in their own end.
Yeah, Pratt's done a nice job so far today, both offensively and defensively. You look to a guy who comes out, and you see the junior at 6'2" again, with good size, come out and have a good start to the game. They're going to fake here.
They throw it across the middle, and it's enough for the first down.
Number 33.
And there's a penalty flag, and Coach Pidcock is not pleased.
Down on the play.
I believe that was the junior, John Robinson, who's the up man in that punt formation. It was a quarterback, a backup quarterback.
Number 8, Justin Gilmore. Draws the passer on that play.
Illegal formation on the offense. 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Well, as a coach, that's what gives you gray hair.
Yeah, especially when you design a play like that and it works for you, and you have a legal formation. That just makes you sick. Not happy at all with his team on that play. Not gonna go with the fake here.
So again, Clearview will line up the punt, and they'll punt the snap way over the punter's head. And he's still dancing in the backfield. Now will punt it away, off and blocked. Ooh, you talk about a turn of events from a first down to a bad snap, and now Kingsway in excellent field position, their best of the afternoon. 1st and 10 inside of Clearview's 35-yard line. Wow.
Well, the person who committed the illegal formation penalty for the Pioneers, and I didn't get to see who it was, I hope they're playing defense right now, because I would not want to go to the sideline. After committing the penalty, you have a first down that you picked up. You can see Pidcock not at all happy with the Pioneers at this point. A huge mistake in allowing now the Dragons. This is where they have to be able to take advantage here in this spot.
Ball thrown up, looking for Pratt, and just too much on that as Pratt had beaten Potts.
Yeah, and again, the inexperience of Gilmore. He's going to be a good one, and he still has shown some signs of really greatnit here for the Dragons, but that time, too excited. You got to relax a little bit. He probably got rid of that football a little bit quicker than he wanted to and should have, and that time he overshoots his man. Pratt got hung up at the line of scrimmage just a little bit, but Gilmore releasing probably too soon on that one.
2nd down and 10. And this time they'll hand it off, and again, tremendous penetration, stopping Kingsway. That looked like Brian King, the ball carrier, and they will use about 3 yards.
And that's Chad Gravenese, a defensive end, textbook. There you see the Dragon throwing some hands in the air. Gravenese is a guy who's a smart kid, but plays that defensive end just as nice as you're going to find it. Being able to shoot upfield, not allowing King a burst to the outside. And he just, he's a football player in every sense. When you talk about the defensive end and the tight end spot, gives you a lot of different things and options.
Quick hitter across the middle. On his feet, it's Pratt. Pratt into the secondary, inside the red zone. 1st down, Kingsway.
Wow, he's having a good game, Pratt.
That quick slant pattern. And Pratt with a lot of yards after that catch. And Kingsway still drawing from the momentum of the botched punt.
Remember when I said about Gilmore being inexperienced and making mistakes, but you could see glimpses? He put the ball right on the numbers, Rob, where the receiver doesn't even break stride. And that's just a nice pass by the freshman.
In motion, and the end around, and more penalty flags. As King, again, loses a yard, but a legal motion by the Dragons.
Yep, that's going to back him up again. And when it happens on 1st down, you think, all right, well, at least we're able to overcome it if you're a Kingsway fan, because you got 4 downs to be able to do so. But when you're at 1st and 15.
Shift on the offense. That penalty is declined. 2nd down.
They'll decline the penalty here and make it 2nd and 11. Good decision by Coach Pidcock. That's you're not able, when you put yourself in this situation, especially when you get to the red zone, Rob, because remember, everyone's going to be packed in for the Clearview defense, so there's not a whole lot of room to be able to create separation in the passing game, and Kingsway has not shown a great deal of signs that they can run the football.
Timeout called on the field by the Kingsway Dragons. 7:44 remains in this first half. here on Thanksgiving. And so many times we've come to this field and it feels like it's 10, 15 degrees outside. We couldn't have had a more wonderful day for football. It's about 60 degrees, very comfortable. It's one of those days you wear shorts, you're good.
Yeah,
you're good.
You know, it's almost, and this is horrible to say this, but it's kind of wasted on Thanksgiving. This is a day where you could have had it like the day before. You could have went golfing.
Well, I don't know. When I was a kid, things are a lot different now. Like, they have cars and stuff. But when I was a kid, we used to always play football Thanksgiving morning. We'd have tackle football, get the kids from the neighborhood, and I'm sure it was much colder than this. So this is a great day to round up your buddies and go out and have a tackle football game.
True story. But if it was on Friday, for even the adults, that the wife was out shopping, you could have went golfing. You could have the kids go play football.
2nd and 11. And this time, keep right up the middle, towards the end zone, touchdown! Rondell Gilmore off of the fake. Kingsway strikes right back. 7-6 Pioneers. And you have to believe that Coach Pitcock is absolutely steaming right now after a first down, a penalty calls it back, a botched punt, and quickly they result in 6 points, turning over the football. The Pioneers now looking at Kingsway tying this football game up.
One of the things, if you had a knock on this kid, one of the things was finding his holes.
2-point conversion instead. Kingsway's going to try to go up on top. Gilmore throws underneath, and it's intercepted. So the 2-point conversion is no good. Pratt was open, but one of the drawbacks, of course, is that
7 minutes, 33
now
seconds.
Gilmore has the ball intercepted, and Kingsway a 1-point deficit.
Yeah, one of the things that Gilmore had to work on, Rob, is really following his blockers and going through the line and being able to set them up. With that terrific speed, sometimes it's hard to be patient with the football. And, that play really indicates how he's worked at that. And this is a kid that not only has terrific speed and athleticism, but I think he really gets the game and wants to get better and really realizes he needs to be able to get better. They're throwing right now some shirts up into the stands.
Well, they're actually shooting them over the stands, which is pretty impressive. I feel like I'm at Wrigley. I should be back on Wayland Avenue trying to catch the ball.
We got Coach Ian up here in the press box for baseball, and he's probably looking at some of these girls thinking,
he's got his
outfielders. Them at shortstop or third base.
His outfielders behind the press box shagging. 7-6 Clearview on top. Betterson the touchdown run for Clearview. And Rondell Gilmore the keeper with the touchdown for the Dragons.
That was a nice play fake by him. Pulls the ball in. And again, that patience to allow his blockers to get downfield. Nice job by the young man.
Low line drive fielded on one hop, and again, Clearview will have excellent field position. They'll start at their own 39-yard line. 7:24 left here on Thanksgiving in Woolwich Township.
There's a lot of debate going on right now, Rob, between the Thanksgiving Day rivalries and also the possibility of going to groups in a state playoff, which would negate the Thanksgiving Day rivalry. And a lot of differences in opinion on some of these. Coach Peacock, a purist, where he loves the Thanksgiving Day rivalry. He brought up a great point, is allowing these kids to continue to play football and get them, the ones who aren't in the playoffs, something to be excited for at this time of the year.
And the handoff to Betterson. Betterson dancing through the line, driving forward. They'll be very close to the first down. Betterson has been impressive thus far today. Well, they've already backed up the football schedule 1 week. They did that about 5 or 6 years ago, if I recall. I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually back it up again. Typically, Pennsylvania is a week or two ahead in almost every sport.
Yeah, and I can't help to think that we can't come to some type of agreement where we can find out a way to really get the playoffs still going. What's that?
You put a man on the moon.
Yeah, we can figure out this in the BCS.
Second down. And Sheridan right through the line. Still on his feet. Cut down at the 32.
Now, he's 200 pounds, but he looks like he's about 240 when he has that football. And he is a big kid, and I can't help but agree with Coach Pitcock and say not only is he one of the most improved players for Clearview, he's probably one of the most improved in the Tri-County Rural Division. At that position, the way he's been able to block and carry the football, so important again for this offense. He's done a fine job.
You know, getting back to your point about Thanksgiving Day rivalries, that'd be something that would be good to see in the NFL, is on Thanksgiving week, they have to play their traditional rival. Inside, Sheridan. For instance, you know, the Eagles might play the Cowboys or the Redskins or the Giants. You know, you have the Steelers against the Browns as an example. You know, the Packers and the Lions, or the Packers and the Bears, who are close geographically.
Not a bad idea. Let's see what we get. I
was going to say I was going to call Pete Rozelle. That's 3 commissioners ago.
Yeah, I don't think he'll answer.
Doesn't live here anymore. Eisenhart pitches to Betterson.
Right side. This is the
brings it outside the tackles. Again, still on his feet. And more than enough with the first down.
Down to the 16. It is gain of the 10. And a Clearview first down.
I like what Clearview is doing at the point of attack, the line of scrimmage. They're really getting a push off the football and allowing some of the running backs a lot of room to maneuver. And if you're able to get that push, not only, or obviously you're going to be able to pick up positive yardage, but also allows the running back to be able to cut left or right depending on where the holes are opening up. It gives them a chance to see the field a little better.
Eisenhart again to Betterson. Betterson still on his feet, and he has been very impressive today. Very light on his feet, tough to bring down, tremendous balance, and exceptional elusiveness.
You know, when you see every man on the offensive line doing their job and getting that push, that's just extremely helpful. If you have that one Kingsway lineman who's able to gain some type of penetration, it's going to force the Kingsway or the Clearview running back to cut back to the inside or cut to the outside. So right now, Clearview owning the line of scrimmage.
Eisenhart will hand it off to Sheridan, and again, without Sheridan getting up that head of steam, not a whole lot there. A critical third down now for the Pioneers. We're approaching the 4-minute mark.
There's a nice crowd on hand too. This is an exciting game for everybody, Rob. I mean, Thanksgiving, everyone comes to the field. That's the first thing you do here for Clearview fans and Kingsway fans on Thanksgiving mornings. Come to a football game. A lot of faces you haven't seen in a while. That happens all over, and that's one of the things you look at Thanksgiving and would like to incorporate that somehow.
Sheridan driving forward and trying to put the ball forward.
Be careful with that ball when you're holding it out like that. You know, I'm not sure if he did pick it up. He was close.
I believe he'll be shy of the first down. So 4th down now for the Pioneers. Not close enough for a measurement. And it looks like Clearview's going to go for it. They have really on the trenches. You have to believe it's going to be one of the 3, Eisenhart, Betterson, or Sheridan, just kind of going right behind the big guys in the middle.
Remember, Eisenhart is 6'3" with good size.
And it will be Eisenhart, and he gets it quite easily.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be able to get the Thanksgiving Day rivalries in a perfect world, get the state championship, put them all together somehow and come up with some type of system that would work.
Well, really, you know,
but I don't know if it would happen.
Football doesn't have a state championship, of course, and to me that's
in our state. We're one of the few states. I believe it's New Jersey and California, the only 2 states
Is that right?
that do not have a state championship, and that's because of the size of it. But just look at this. If Michigan can do it, if Ohio can do it, if Texas can do it, Why can't a state like New Jersey be able to figure it out?
So in theory, I mean, you would go into December. You know, of course, what happens then is the basketball coaches and the wrestling coaches and the swimming coaches, they get a little bit upset because it starts to encroach on their season. But, you know, you're talking about only 2 teams in the entire state it's going to impact. Well, I should say per group.
Per group. 2 extra games.
And a little end around. Potts, touchdown. Very easy for the Pioneers, an impressive drive inside of 2 minutes remaining in this first half. Clearview strikes again. They now hold a 7-point edge with the point after awaiting.
Evan Potts, a good athlete, also a 2-sport guy who plays basketball and football. Potts, a good speed, a good burst to the outside, and no one around for Kingsway to stop him. With Emerson, booming point after attempts.
Connor McCafferty, 14-6.
I mean, it comes from a guy who kicked here last year with Del Thomas, but getting some booming extra points by the Pioneer place kicker.
See Coach Pitcock, who's been around for quite some time, very, very in touch with this rivalry. And as you mentioned before, just absolutely loves the game of football and loves it even more so on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, what he's done for Clearview as a whole, probably, you think of, you know, different schools and somebody to put a face on a school. I think Dan Pitcock is Clearview.
Yeah.
I don't think there's too many people in Gloucester County that doesn't know who this guy is and doesn't really like who he is. I mean, everyone around really knows Coach Pitcock and really likes him.
That's the coach's trophy.
That's
will
a nice
be presented
trophy,
to the winner of today's game. Of course, each school would like nothing more than to showcase that as you enter the lobby, kind of remind their rivals as to who's victorious. And 20 years from now, of course, the stories will become bigger and better.
The one that I think is the best is the Norm Willie Boot in the Salem-Woodstown rivalry, one of the oldest rivalries, if not the oldest in South Jersey. Not too sure where it sits. I know the Gloucester County Times, we had that. Scott Chapelier tracking down all those numbers, but what a great name. And when you like to win the Norm Willie Boot, the pride that must overcome those kids when they walk off the field with that trophy. Especially as old as that rivalry has been.
Now, I'm not real familiar with it. Did they encrust it in bronze, or is it just a shoe that they pass back and forth?
I think just the shoe. Just the shoe. But it's now crusty, so that it is almost like it's bronze.
Maybe I don't want to win the Norm Willie Boot then.
You can say his foot was in there. Just how do you know Norm Willie wasn't a very, very cleansed individual?
Sure he was.
Take a shower.
Put Lysol in there. It may break etiquette, however. Across the middle, thrown, and looking for his big target, Jeff Morona. Gilmore has his pass fallen complete.
I don't know if you've ever been in one of those locker rooms. You think Norm Willie's boot is going to make the difference in the foul odor that comes out of those places?
You make a good point. Second down and 10 for the Dragons. It's that is neat, you know, that type of tradition, that type of rivalry.
And that's why I think Pitcock brings up an excellent point. Here's a big pass here.
Jump ball, and it falls incomplete as Potts, the mismatch against Pratt. Yeah. But Gilmore a little too strong, and that's a mismatch that Kingsway will try and exploit as the game proceeds.
Absolutely, giving up 6 inches there as Potts doing a nice job. Although he's a basketball guy and he has good leaping ability, probably a mismatch with Pratt. Pratt deserving some extra special attention, what he's done so far here today. But if you can get Pratt one-on-one with Potts, who's at 5'6", you like your chance to be able to come up and make a play there. Excuse me, if he's 5'6", my math is not as good as it used to be. I believe that's now 8 inches.
And the pocket screen to Pratt, knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Kingsway will be forced to punt.
I am right, 8 inches, right? 5'6", the other guy's 6'2".
That would be 8 inches,
8
yes. I have my cell phone now, and that also can double as a calculator if you'd like to borrow it.
Apparently I need it, because I think that's the second week in a row I've miscalculated inches.
Kingsway again.
Oh, almost blocked. What a punt.
What a punt.
Excellent punt.
And this will bounce all the way into the end zone. A 65-yard punt. Very impressive.
Dustin DeSimone with a boomer.
Got a little spiral on there.
Yeah.
Got it up into the jet stream, and Clearview will have to go 80 yards on this drive to increase their lead.
Can you steal Kingsway's roster?
Clearview will start at their 20-yard line. 91 seconds remain in this first half. They lead 14-6 here on Thanksgiving. Eisenhart again with the I formation. Little end around and pick up about 3 or 4 for Betterson.
You see, even I keep talking about the backs. And you see Betterson grabbing East, a tight end, blocking downfield. And when you have those guys being able to give a little bit of a push, and you got big number 44, big number 33, who's in front, you like your chances. Now it brings up a second and about 7. It's only 3 yards. But it's a good 3 yards when it looks like, you know, you don't have much there. And the running back is going to gain those extra by throwing himself forward with a little bit of a push. Nothing there. Good defense that time. That was Mike Contarino, the sophomore, 5'9". Can't be his right size. Listed as, no, I'm sorry, that's Alex Castaldi, the senior, 5'11", 200 pounds. In trouble with numbers today. You see Dorian Bryant, guy who's expected. They say maybe 2nd round, 3rd round. Now, I think Dorian, he's really matured over the last few years, you know, as a football player, and knows who he is. He's an excellent wide receiver. Is going down as one of the best, if not the best, all-time wide receiver at Purdue. And Rob, he's a dangerous kick returner that I think will see immediate action next fall.
Well,
as such, he'd be nice right with the Eagles. How about having him return some kicks, put him in there at wide receiver? Wouldn't be a bad spot for the Birds to be able to pick him up, the local guy.
3rd down now, and again, it's going to be Potts on the end around. Potts with some room. Potts will be very close, and he'll have the first down. Actually, the spot may be just shy of the 30-yard line. So they're going to spot it shy of the 30. That'll bring up a 4th down in inches. Interesting here, with 38 seconds left. Do you play it safe? And Coach Pidcock will.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's any question.
35 seconds left to go here.
You punt the ball away, put your defense on the field, and try to go into halftime with the 8-point lead. You don't want to make a mistake. Kingsway going to call timeout, give themselves, I think they're going to call timeout, unless the officials are calling timeout here.
Getting back to Dorian Bryant, you know, in the years that we've been doing this together, Shawn, Dorian Bryant, one of the most electrifying players we've had here in South Jersey. I think second only to Kevin Harvey.
I'd agree with you. I mean, there's a couple of kids that have not had that wow factor. I think probably the one maybe you forget, maybe Sakeen Wright at Glassboro, where what he was able to do in the backfield and buy time.
Please put 34 seconds on the game clock, please. 34 seconds.
What he was able to do at that quarterback position was comparable to Harvey. Maybe not the speed that he had, but he had such strength he'd wiggle out of tackles and find Terrence Holmes, who was one of the top wide receivers ever to be in our county, and being able to find him going up top. You know, it's a couple of big names though. Gerald Hodges looks like a guy as a junior for Paulsboro who's pretty exciting as well. But you're right, Dorian Bryant, I realized how good he was during the Adam Telefero All-Star game. And I saw him go against some of the better players, and he just looked like a man playing with boys against All-Stars. And he knew he was going to be special at that point. And he had a terrific game. Again, the explosion that he's shown, his speed, you can't coach that type of stuff. I'm not the only one having problems with numbers. I think it's some other
They had to reset
going
the
on
clock
the
to 34 seconds. So Clearview will look to punt it away. Now, again, talk about playing it safe. The only reason that I brought up the point whether or not you go for it, because Clearview has really owned the line of scrimmage. You only have to go for a couple inches, and the only time that Kingsway has scored is because of the trouble off of a punt. So, you know, that's not a gimme here, given what has transpired this morning.
True, but you have to look at what Clearview's done with the kicking game. You got to expect that if you can't get off a simple punt, you got bigger problems. So at this point, you make a mistake. Let's say it's even a fumbled snap. I mean, there's so many things that could happen.
I would go for it.
Kingsway, you would go for it?
I would go for it.
Wow.
And so will Coach Pitcock.
Yep, that's what I would do too. I'd go for it here too. I mean, why not?
Eisenhart. And he has more than enough for the first down. This is why Coach Pitcock is the great coach he is.
Yes. Yep, and that's why I'm up here. I don't really know what the heck I'm talking about. You go for it in that situation. Why punt it and give yourself a...
Now take a knee. Now just call it a half.
I like your thinking.
Eisenhart inside of 15 seconds, double inside reverse. Betterson will be brought down, and that should do it. Yes, Pitcock says, okay, let's refresh, regenerate, and review. So after one half of play here from Woolwich Township, Kingsway High School. Thanksgiving Day rivalry, the Pioneers on top of the Dragons by 8. Welcome back to Kingsway High School. Happy Thanksgiving. Clearview on top, 14-6. About to begin the second half. Rob Christ along with my partner Shawn Leary.
The number 7.
As we mentioned, these two traditional Thanksgiving rivals in their last game for many of them ever as a high school student. And Tony Barchuk has been a part of this rivalry along with Coach Pitcock for a very long time. And great morning for football, and Thanksgiving always associated with football. That first half really dominated by the Pioneers despite yielding 6 points, that coming off of a botched punt.
Well, I don't know how many times we say this through the course of the year, but you know, the line of scrimmage really dictates the winner of these games. And no stranger to the Pioneers is the Kingsway offense. And what they were able to do is really shut it down, stop the run, and force Gilmore to pass. And you might see a little bit more of that here from the Dragons in the second half.
Take it at the 10. And driving forward all the way to the 37-yard line is Potts.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner already.
So again, Clearview will start in excellent field position. They have had tremendous field position throughout this afternoon, or this morning. Is it afternoon yet? Not quite. Another 6 minutes, Shawn.
Well, it's probably, while they're watching this, it's probably in the evening.
That's a good point.
And it's not Thanksgiving anymore. Are you kidding me? But maybe in the heart, maybe in the heart it's still Thanksgiving. If you still give thanks every day, right?
I'm thankful
Thanksgiving every day.
I'm thankful for our partnership, Shawn. I don't know how many years we've been doing this. I don't want to bring tears to your eyes right now.
You might. They're touching you right in the chest right now.
I'll keep my hands to myself.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because you will get a forearm.
Very fortunate to have worked with you over the years. I mean, we've enjoyed a good friendship, and I think what's best is your sense of humor. We always have a good time.
Whoa, wait a second. This can't be Rob Chris. Something happened at halftime.
Eisenhart dancing in the backfield, and he's cut down, maybe a gain of 1.
Likewise, I appreciate those nice comments.
They're heartfelt.
Yep. Still a mediocre baseball coach, but
Well, that's an improvement over what my critics tell me.
that's very kind words, and I also thank to all these guys we were. We have a nice crew over here.
We do.
At a
Director Stan Ritter.
contest.
And your brother Darren Leary always does a great job. On
Fortunate to have guys like Kevin LeMaster, Fred Booker, who's been around for a long time. Kerry Olson, Kevin Munyon.
Pitch, it's Betterson.
Pitch to Betterson.
And
Nice
he's
job.
down, and Kingsway has come out with a mission here.
Really important, I think, to I don't want to live with Bill O'Brien because I pretty much got through everyone but him. But really important to be able to negate anything that Clearview wanted to do offensively right off the bat here in the second half. Clearview seemed to control the line of scrimmage as that half went on, and to be able to get the ball back, get yourself in good position now. They should have decent field position.
And again, a bad
Back
punt.
to receive.
Bad snap.
job.
And Pratt takes it at about his 24-yard line, still on his feet, and he'll bring it back to the 35. A good return, and getting back to that fourth down play in the first half. That's why Coach Pidcock and I suggested that it's probably better to go for the inch.
Looking back at it now, I think it's a terrific call because you're right. I mean, you talk about, well, you might have a bad snap, or you might have a bad snap where it goes over and that seems to really manifest during a game. When you first make a mistake, it seems to intensify, and you can make the same mistake, and you see that very often in the kicking game. We've had playoff games where people couldn't get snaps correctly, and it basically was an adventure every time.
Thrown across the middle, in and out of his hands. A fine throw by the quarterback, Rondell Gilmore.
And broken up by Nick Cacciola, the junior for the Pioneers, able to break that play up. And this is a kid that's got good quickness. He's a tough kid. And his father was a guy who played under Coach Joe Corby at Deptford. So again, you see all these bloodlines. Usually the father played football, the son plays football.
Second down and 10 for Gilmore and the Dragons. And a lot of problems here. Rasheed Williams kind of very tentatively started and then decided to go, and the timing was thrown off entirely, but I don't think he will be credited with the unassisted tackle, however he could be.
Yeah, he should. he should, because he was the reason Gilmore fell to the ground. This is going to bring up a 3rd and long, and again, when you put yourself in this position, if you cannot establish a running game at all, it's going to be difficult to be able to get a nice 3rd down conversion percentage when you deal with these type of pressures.
And now Gilmore being strung out, and he'll just throw it out of bounds, almost taking out one of the cheerleaders.
Yeah, luckily that missed.
So Clearview holds. Kingsway will punt.
She was open, though. I mean, she was wide open. See Gilmore come to the sideline. There are better days ahead for that young man. He is a talent that's probably, I would say he's probably the biggest freshman talent that comes into the Tri-County Conference World Division this year.
And the punt into the sun. Eisenhart will allow it to roll, and this will bounce inside the 20-yard line. Again, an exceptional punt.
I say this too, and I want to make sure that I make this clear. And when you talk about Gilmore and the talent that he has coming in, and we've seen this over the years from some different athletes or even different teams. When you get the opportunity to start as an underclassman, that doesn't mean that you've reached the pinnacle of what your high school career should be. You have to and should improve. And the only way you're going to get to play college football is if you do that every single year and work on it every single day. Because those kids that go on to play college football, that's what they've done. Whether they had the same level of talent that you had, if you don't continue to hone your skills and work on it in the offseason, I can guarantee you will not be successful in college football.
Sheridan picks up about 3, second down. That punt spanning about 47 yards. So a 65-yard punt earlier, this time 47 yards.
And especially in Gilmore's case, when you see your brother have success, of course you have the ability, because you worked out with your younger brother. He's going on to do great things in college football. You've already started your career off to be very impressive as a freshman. But if you don't work at it, and I know Rondell gets this, and I'm sure he will, but he could be a special one here at Kingsway.
Betterson will take the handoff, pick up a couple. That'll bring 3rd down, about a long 4.
It's the gain of 2. It'll bring up 3rd and 4.
I just hope the young man enjoys his high school years too, because a lot of pressure is going to be put on his shoulders, and I hope he enjoys it instead of withdraws from it. And that can be a lot of pressure, and you don't want to see, especially a kid that age. I mean, he's a freshman, and you don't want to see him put undue pressure on himself to lead this Dragons team.
Eisenhart fakes the handoff. Out of the pocket, into the secondary, cuts across the green, and brought down at the 38-yard line. 1st down, Pioneers.
That's one of the things I think. You look at all the Clearview quarterbacks over the years, and one of the things that I really like from Eddie Eisenhart is he'll pull it down and run for big yards. I mean, he's a big kid with long strides at 6'3" and good wheels. And one of the things that I like about him, not only in that quarterback sneak, is when he understands that the pressure's coming and he doesn't have anything open, and with the coverage, he will take off and run with it. And 9 times out of 10, he'll make good decisions with the football.
Ederson hands it off, takes the handoff. Gain of 3. Clearview content to grind it on out here. 6:30 left, 3rd quarter. They hold an 8-point edge over their rival Dragons.
Brand new, Stacy, the field. We're accustomed to doing the game across the other sideline. A new set of stands here.
Yeah, I was
some great work done here at Kingsway.
Thrown off today, Shawn. I parked on the wrong side. Couldn't find the concession stand. Wasn't even sure where our truck was. Handoff, and it's going to be Betterson once again, but I eventually found it. I'm here.
That's good. I'm glad, because it would have been difficult to do this by myself.
This is one reason why I'll be asking for a GPS system for Christmas.
To find the Kingsway Dragon.
In case you wanted to know what to get me.
Okay. They see the brand new stands here. Got an elevator that goes up to the press box, a nice press box. A little more room, a little more spacious than it was.
You were a little nervous about taking the elevator.
You never know when it's going to get stuck.
3rd down and short for the Pioneers. And we may have Kingsway jumping into the neutral zone.
They continue to make mistakes in that area of the ball game.
Is that a typical phobia that you have?
Offside on the defense. 5-yard penalty.
No.
1st down.
Not so much. But also, as Coach Pete Orio said before I chose to make that decision, he said you could probably use the exercise going up and down the stairs.
That's nice.
And when Coach says something, you should probably take it to heart. He's saying whatever is in your best interest.
That's why he told you to walk home, isn't it?
Yeah, just leave your truck here.
1st down and 10. And again, it's Betterson. Pick up a couple.
Excellent defense that time.
Well, it's Thanksgiving. You got to put in a good showing with the family. You got to kind of work up to these things. You go in at 190 pounds, it's not going to work for you.
I was going to say, it's not a bad idea. Walk home on Thanksgiving, then you can eat a little bit more stuffing, or a couple, another piece of apple pie. Or what desserts are typically found at the Leary household?
My wife is incredible with desserts. She should probably start her own shop, but she'll throw it. I think
not a bakery, but a shop.
Whatever you want to call it. I'm not into those things. If it doesn't have a ball in it, I'm usually not there.
We'll talk about her shop in a moment. Eisenhart flushed out of the pocket, will throw up top, and falls incomplete.
Yeah, one of the few times they brought pressure Kingsway, and again, you bring pressure and you're able to beat that line of scrimmage, and you're defensively you're able to get some type of movement from the quarterback. You could see there, Eisenhart feels less comfortable in that situation. When he's able to set, throw, and release, that's when he becomes very difficult to game plan against.
Let's talk turkey, Shawn.
Well, usually you have, obviously the pumpkin pie is always there.
Ah, yes.
That's just nice, and you throw a bonus with the whipped cream on top of that. The cheesecakes are there. I think today we got not only it's not pumpkin pie, it's pumpkin pie cake.
Ah, interesting. That sounds good. You gonna bring me a piece of that on Saturday?
Talk about it real quick.
Yeah, I want a piece of that on Saturday.
All right, yeah, I will.
Play action and setting up the screen. Big opening down the near sideline, and that's going to be shy of the first down as Tim Bast got pounded a couple yards shy of the first down marker.
Able to pick up some quality yardage in Kingsway, and Bast isn't the guy that gets a lot of time in the lineup, but he shows where if you're able to hide somebody, you're not typically looking for number 10. He comes out there. There was no Dragons around the play that time, and good yardage on third down. At least gives the Pioneers a decision here, and this has been an adventure in this kicking game with the snaps.
Masika, the punter, fakes. And that's going to be enough for the first down. So the second fake punt of the day. Each one has worked. However, the first one called back via a penalty. This one snapped right to Cacciola. And first down.
Dan Pitcock, he just never ceases to amaze you. You think, all right, well, we tried it once, it doesn't work. That was our punt fake for the day. No, they say, listen, they're not going to expect us to go for it again. And it works.
Inside of 3 minutes remaining now in this third quarter.
Good spot on the field to do it as well. If you don't make it there, at least you're not backed up into your own end.
And good balance illustrated by Potts, picking up about 3. So any traditions in the Leary household, Thanksgiving-wise?
Not too much. One of the things, at least we go to my uncle's, and he's going to be hosting Thanksgiving, but usually, sometimes I have to work and stuff like that, so it hasn't been like the rivalry.
So the tradition is you don't come home?
Or I leave early. No, I gotta go. But no, we always. I'm actually to be thankful to have such a great family, not just our family, but our extended family as well. A lot of people, a lot of roots here in Woolwich Township, the Caltabianos.
Eisenhart runs into trouble, maintains his balance, and after eluding a couple tacklers, brought down for a loss. Long third down for the Pioneers.
Looks like that was George Brooks playing his final game as a senior. 5'7", 215 pounds, doing a nice job of getting some pressure again, forcing Clearview now in a third and long situation. This is where you want to put the Pioneers, put them in third and long, force Eisenhart to have to throw the football to the receivers, and now you think about maybe bringing some pressure.
Eisenhart back to pass again, setting up the screen, throws underneath, and not much there. Screen well set up, but Gravenese really with not a whole lot of room to operate. This will bring up fourth down.
And somebody else who's having a nice day today is TJ Pratt. Smelling that out. This is a kid who came to play football today, and although he's on the losing end right now, losing 14-6, number 4 is having one of the best days out of every single player on the field today.
So inside of a minute remaining, and Clearview will punt it away. Of course, they have faked a pair of punts today.
Standing at his head to receive.
Good snap and angling for the sideline.
Good punt. Wow.
This will find its way inside the 10-yard line. So 42 seconds remain. One score football game. Clearview on top 14-6. And Kingsway will have possession of the football inside their 10-yard line to start things. Well, Shawn and I were talking at length about things to be thankful for. We have a special guest here today, Don Hart. Now, Don will play football under head coach Dan Pitcock here at Clearview, and just an extraordinary story that we'll get into momentarily, and the recovery of Don Hart. First down and 10 for the Pioneers. Quarterback again is Gilmore.
No, Gilmore keeps it.
And
Right
Gilmore
side.
keeps. He'll pick up a couple. Not a whole lot there. Clearview's line has held throughout the day as we're now inside of 25 seconds. Clearview may have one more opportunity to snap the football prior to changing sides. Now, Clearview does have the wind to their back. I should say Kingsway has the wind to their back, so we'll see whether or not Gilmore, the impressive freshman, goes to the air. Inside of 3 seconds, I don't know if he's going to get this snap off. It looks like he will not. So that'll do it for the third quarter.
That is the end of the third quarter.
Clearview on top, 14-6. Stick around. We'll have a discussion with Don Hart and the conclusion to this Thanksgiving rivalry. Welcome back to Kingsway High School. Kingsway trailing 14-6. Their rivals Clearview with a pair of touchdowns. And we start the fourth quarter with special guest Donald Hart. Welcome, Donald, a 2006 graduate of Clearview High School, a former player under head coach Dan Pidcock, and a remarkable story of survival and desire, maybe something that you learned from playing here at Clearview under head coach Pidcock. And why don't you kind of walk us through exactly what transpired?
It was about December, about a month after our last game, and I was on my way home from my girlfriend's house. And I fell asleep behind the wheel, crashed my car, was left for dead basically out in the middle of nowhere. So I had to use my instinct, my survival skills I learned by Dan Pidcock and stuff like that.
Now you were driving home from your girlfriend's house. Essentially, you crashed into a ravine or something to that effect.
Yeah, down into a creek.
Into a creek, and were you conscious immediately, or?
Yeah, I was in and out of it. It was real cold. My eyes were swollen, broken legs and stuff like that. But I don't remember nothing. I guess it was just meant to be.
Now you had 2 broken legs, is that correct? You had broken bones in your face?
Yeah, I shattered my right leg and broke 10 bones in the face.
And obviously, you know, the pain must have been extraordinary.
You don't think about pain.
Around the end, Gilmore across the 50, knocked out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. So at that point, I guess just your survival skills kick in. Despite the pain, you have to determine, you know, how badly you want to live, right?
Yeah.
Now, were you immersed in water at all?
Yeah, I was in about 2 feet of water down in a ditch, about 10 feet down, in the middle of nowhere, no cell phone, don't remember nothing. So I had to get out of the car and then find a house.
Now, you had broken legs. Did you walk out or did you crawl out?
I crawled on my hands, and my hands were really bruised since then and lost feeling. I just crawled on my knees and my hands like a kid, kind of, just used my survival skills and went up a hill.
And how far was it before you finally found help?
About 2 football fields across the street, and I knocked on someone's door with everything left and just passed out on their steps.
Wow, so you were literally unconscious when...
woke up the next day in the hospital.
That's amazing. Now, since that time, it's been, you know, a couple years. Tell us a little bit about your recovery.
Well, I've been trying to just keep football in my recovery so I would have something to look forward to. I've been trying to get back, play some college football. I got back pretty good, tried to play some college football and rushed it. And the injury's still there. Hurt my leg pretty good again.
Now, you went out to Ohio Dominican, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And you had some pins that were put into your legs.
And they broke.
And they broke during your recovery. Now, in terms of, you know, watching you walk and everything, I mean, you look great. You had broken bones in the face. I mean, no one would even know. But you have to go back, and because of the football injury, you still have to have the legs addressed. Is that correct?
Yeah, if I wasn't playing football, I would be able to get along with life, but I can't see not playing football, so I wouldn't want to live without playing ball, so I'm going to try to get it going, keep football in my life.
Now, what's the likelihood of you being able to maintain or continue your football career?
Doctors say there is none, but they said I had no chance to survive when I crawled up that hill, so I don't think it's a doubt. I'll play again.
Well, it's certainly an extraordinary story. Gilmore jump ball looking for Pratt, and again, it is defended by Cacciola. So you're going to go back. I guess pins will be reinserted essentially.
Yeah, they're going to reconstruct my ankle and going to go to University of Penn and try to do some kind of surgery so I can play again, at least if I can be 85%.
How much do you attribute your experience as a member of the Clearview football team to your recovery or maybe even your survival?
I think if I didn't play Clearview football, I'd be dead. Kind of just the morals you bring up by Pidcock. Dan Pidcock, he just teaches you to survive and don't feel sorry for yourself.
Well, again, it's just amazing. I don't think people truly understand. What an individual effort there. The interception by Eisenhart, just stopping that Kingsway drive. Eisenhart illustrating some of that tremendous athleticism. A former teammate of yours, Don, he's really had a great senior year. Getting back to your story.
His brother told him.
What's that?
His brother told him, Jarrett.
Literally, from the throes of death, just a tremendous story. And, here, the reason we bring you on, especially today, it's Thanksgiving. And, how many days, or how often do you go back and think about, what transpired on that day? How much is that still with you?
I try not to feel sorry for myself, but you think about it every day. Can't not think about it when you walk. You feel the pain. You drive by the spot every day. It's right up the street.
Is that a source of inspiration for you to make the most of each day, as an example?
Yeah, I kind of think if I'm alive, I'm going to make the best of it. I shouldn't be here, so take every day for granted,
Well, again, Shawn and I were talking about the various things that we give thanks for. I'm certain that, one thing that we all take for granted is our life. And after what transpired to you, that's probably one thing you no longer take for granted.
Yeah, you don't realize it until you're sitting there and you have no other choice.
A loose football, and it looks like Clearview is going to maintain possession. But listen, Don, you are an extraordinary story, and we certainly want you to keep us updated into your progress. You're a tremendous story, no matter whether or not you are able to continue your football career.
No doubt about it.
No question that your story is one of great success. And again, I wish you the best of luck. Thank you for coming on.
All right, I'll keep you updated when I play again.
All right, will do. Take care.
Thanks.
That was Don Hart, former football player at Clearview, and tremendous guest to have on this Thanksgiving Day. Just one of the remarkable stories, one of the most remarkable stories. Literally just barely surviving, just the will to succeed. And, he tips his hat to Coach Pidcock, and something that was reinforced in him as a football player.
Well, not too long after that, when he first came to recovery, he actually worked for me at the Gloucester County Times. And, he called. I couldn't even hardly understand the kid, because at the time his jaw was wired shut, and he was still getting some work done there. And get to that right after this punt.
Good punt again, angled, high hop, and this will be taken. King dancing and taken down at the 40.
But he came and worked for us, and I was privileged enough to do a feature on him during the Clay Awards, and really got to cover the story in depth. And it's just an amazing and remarkable story that kid's alive. Some of the things he didn't mention was it was freezing out. This is December where you're freezing, you're soaking wet, there's snow on the ground, and he's got to crawl up a hill. And he says about 2 football fields at length. His eyes were almost closed shut. He had gravel underneath of his fingertips from where he climbed up the driveway. And literally digging his fingernails into the gravel and getting up to where he needed to, where people, and this was early in the morning. It was after a Monday night football game with the Packers. He was watching it at his girlfriend's house, so people were asleep at the time. It's a road that wasn't traveled on very much, and just he really attributes Dan Pidcock and Clearview football to saving his life, of not giving up and not quitting, and always persevering. And and obviously the kid's in tremendous shape. He's a good athlete. His brother's a good athlete, but an amazing story. And when he says that he's going to come back and play football, and he's given a 0% chance, I truly believe that the kid's going to come back and play football.
you know, he kind of downplayed it a little bit, but as you mentioned, just unbelievable story. Screen pass, nothing doing there, 3rd down. And
I think
some people, just to quickly interject, Shawn, some people, you know, downplay the role of sports, but to me, this illustrates there's so many different things that sports provide both the community and the individual. You know, here on Thanksgiving, you see how the communities come together, and it's a great way of becoming friends with not only your rivals but your neighbors, and also on an individual standpoint. I mean, you're talking about football probably saving a kid's life.
Well, just think about the rigors that he went through in the lower 40s at Clearview of training camp, and to come out of a car and try to go up the field. You obviously can't compare the two of them, but he really claims that it has something to do with that, and playing this sport. Was saving his life.
Gilmore sacked by
Chad Gravenese. Nice play by Gravenese. And you know, we all have stories, you know, that, you know, somebody was on the shoulder when a certain person in your life gets into a bad accident. You think, wow, they shouldn't have lived. In fact, the Clearview graduate, who's a dear friend of mine, we talked about this morning, being thankful just the fact that he's alive after a horrific accident. And you know people like that, and a lot of those people, you know, and they say that sports really had something to do with their recovery and being able to overcome that thing. I really, truly believe that sports, I don't care if it's football or any sport that you play, of working out and knowing the value of all that stuff really helps in a recovery. And it certainly helped with Donald Hart. And his story is probably one of the most remarkable and amazing stories because of what he was. When people say, oh, we used to walk uphill to school, this kid had to climb up with broken limbs and climb up with basically his knees and his fingertips, and really, you know, battered. His face was battered where he couldn't even see.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. Well, you can see that he's still a pioneer at heart. When Eisenhart got that interception, he jumped for joy. And right now, Clearview in control of this football game, 14-6. They have been very impressive defensively. And here is Sheridan running the ball in a gain of about 4 yards inside of 5.5 minutes. And this is an opportunity for Clearview to string together a few first downs and really eat up a large portion of the remaining time.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, as being in the media, we over-dramatize things or something. That story was something we didn't need to over-dramatize. It could be made into a movie, what he did. I mean, I couldn't even, as a journalist and as a guy who works in television, I seriously, without the tools and everything, I couldn't even recreate something like that to be able to put it together to accurately show what went on with that kid's during that time where he was able to persevere. And even the ditch that he had to climb up out of, when I looked at it, it was just unbelievable. Kingsway needs a stop.
They do.
4:36 and counting. We don't mean to get away from the football too much. I know we've done that a lot today.
3rd down, a long 3 for the Pioneers. Don't forget, on Saturday we have another rivalry, West Deptford and Paulsboro. And that'll be a good one. Both teams, of course, will play in the South Jersey finals. Paulsboro will take on Glassboro. We'll have that game for you here. West Deptford will visit the beach. Eisenhart back to pass, a lot of time, throws deep across the middle, has his man and overthrows his intended receiver. That was Potts.
Well, Potts is shaking up. You can see him coming off, favoring, I think it looks like that right leg of his, just over the outstretched hands of Potts was Eisenhart. But I like the attempt to go up over top. You're thinking that Kingsway's kind of sucked in a little bit there. You send Potts deep, and Eisenhart did have just a little too much mustard on that throw.
Well, Clearview will punt it away. They have the wind to their back, but most punts have been an adventure. This one will not be. It's a relatively short punt, angled towards the sideline. King will watch it bounce inside the 20, so it works out for the Pioneers, and Clearview will have Kingsway will have a long field here with 3:55 left in this football game.
Oh, you just want to give yourself a chance, and Gilmore allows Kingsway with an opportunity. They're going to need to move the ball through the air. That's been apparent here that Clearview is just too stingy defensively to allow Kingsway any type of ground game. Pratt has had an outstanding game. I would keep my eye on him because I would expect that Kingsway tries to get the ball in his hands.
Well, there's no question that Gilmore has shown some skills when it's come to throwing the football, and a lot of schools would have a tough time driving the length of the field because they rely so heavily on the running game. Kingsway should not have that difficulty. Gilmore, quick drop, throws across the middle looking, and that will fall incomplete, trying to find TJ Pratt.
Didn't get a whole lot into that throw and pushed the ball down to the ground, throwing into the wind a little. You know, one of the, and I'm making no apology for Kingsway, but not having a healthy King at running back, you could see it hampered the offense today. He just, with a high ankle sprain, he did that against Triton 2 weeks ago, has been unable to recover. He's, wanted to play in this game, needed to play in this game, just, being a senior, but, not at all at 100%.
Gilmore, play action, again throwing underneath and nothing doing there. Good coverage on the play by Betterson as the intended receiver, McCauley, unable to hold on. 3:45. Marchuk out to discuss things with his QB. The freshman Gilmore has been impressive. We'll have an opportunity to watch him for years to come.
Remember, this is a team also that returns all but one senior that they're going to lose defensively. Expect the Dragons to be back in the thick of things next year.
Gilmore throws, and he's brought down just as he releases, as his receiver, Rashid Williams, zigged, while Gilmore zagged.
He zagged because Fives was on the prowl. Judah Eisenhart. Haven't called his name that much, as he's had a lot of help from his teammates. Drexel, Philadelphia University, a couple of schools looking at this young man. Comes from a huge family, the Eisenharts. I always say you can't at all. There's no chance of putting a Clearview team together. I think you have to forfeit every game if you don't have an Eisenhart or a Reuter.
So 4th down, and Kingsway will be forced to punt it away.
He's a smart kid too, very smart.
Eisenhart, along with Cacciola, and Clearview should take this over in excellent field position.
Cacciola back to receive.
High punt really stopped by the wind, and this will be down inside the 15-yard line. So the wind, you could get a sense of how strong that wind is. Well, that right there may decide the football game. Kingsway only one score away from tying this thing. Clearview now with excellent field position. See if they can power the football.
The wind has picked up as the day has gone on. We're supposed to get maybe another rain event on Friday, as they like to say in some of the meteorologists. A rain event.
The pitch, Betterson.
Left side.
Strings it outside, Betterson.
Inside the 10.
Touchdown! No, he's out of bounds. He may have stepped out of bounds prior to the stake.
It's the gain of 9. 2nd and 1.
Kind of interesting. It looked like he had a lot of room to operate there.
Out of bounds, he did. yeah, toward the track. There was no one covering him on that track.
Wow, I missed that by a good 5 yards.
It takes a man.
It looked like he did not have a defender near him. Betterson, 9-yard carry, is 2nd and 1. And again, it's going to be Betterson. And you see it almost immediately.
Because there's a new rule that you're now allowed to go out of bounds and hit the guy. So yeah, they gave him a little room when he stepped out. You see the flag moving pretty good right now. That certainly is picked up, and at this point has really sealed the Dragons' fate, or you would expect it to here at 3rd and 2. Not only going to stop him once, but Yeah, Clearview does have a good field goal kicker. The wind is at the back. They can put it away regardless if they're able to go for the field goal attempt and do convert.
Third down again. Betterson right up the gut. Betterson should have enough for the first down. And in many ways, that really benefits Clearview because it'll allow them to eat up some more clock.
Yeah, and this is going to go the Pioneers' way again. You know, we said the Pioneers have. We looked at the record. It's also what the Clearview and Kingsway has done against each other over the years. I expect Kingsway to improve vastly over the years, the next few years. Not just because of Gilmore. They have some really talented young players that will contribute. If the team does things that it should in the offseason, we see that with West Deptford the last couple of weeks of working out in the offseason, this Dragons program should go in the right direction.
2:10 left, the handoff, Betterson hit almost immediately, loose football! Loose football, and we'll see who has it. Kingsway football, a big break. Betterson loses it, and Kingsway now with 2:04 left can tie this football game. They've got a long way to go.
I don't know if that was Calvin Webb, the sophomore, who made the hit, the initial hit. And I think he came up with the football. The big guy, 6'2", and he's not tiny. He's 355 pounds.
First and 10 for the Dragons. Quick screen.
Screen pass, and it's caught.
Pickup of about 3. TJ Pratt on the reception. Inside of 150. And Kingsway's going to have to hustle to get these plays in. Down to 135. So 30 seconds have elapsed already. Again, the other screen is Pratt. A nice catch. Pratt is hit very close to the first down, and Kingsway will call timeout.
And Kingsway will call their first timeout.
So still some good football left here. Of course, we've got a long way to go before this one's over. Minute 22, and Kingsway knocking on the door in the sense that one score would tie things up with a 2-point conversion. But again, on Saturday, West Deptford and Paulsboro, and the following week, Paulsboro again will be here on Channel 5 as they will take on Glassboro for the Group 1 championship.
Yeah, talk about good bloodlines. Pratt, probably the best bloodlines. And, you know, all apologies to Dorian Bryant because he's not there yet, but hey, he's got a couple of cousins who are in the NFL. One playing with the Bengals, who's Justin DeShazo, and also Ricky Williams, who plays with the Seahawks. That is cousins with Williams. So Pratt, no stranger to big-time football, at least in his family reunions. You get together, you talk sports, talk football. Well, they have some bragging rights at the Pratt family.
Third down and 1 for the Dragons. 1:22 remain. And a quarterback sneak is enough for the first down.
Gilmore takes it. He's out from the 12 to the 13. It is a 2-yard gain.
You know, Pratt's done a terrific job. He's a tough kid. He plays football. One of the interesting things about him, at least he lists this on his things, he collects Beanie Babies.
Gilmore pumps, fakes, throws up top for King.
Just slips and falls.
Remember, Kingsway going against the wind as well, so those long passes are going to be all the more difficult.
And King not being able to push off real good. You can see he's not really moving as well as he should with a high ankle sprain. You can't expect him to outleap too many people for Clearview, even if there is a mismatch with a height advantage.
Second and 10. And continues to pick up here. Gilmore, deep drop again, looking to set up the screen. He'll throw, And looking for his receiver.
That was Williams, I think.
Williams.
Out there.
Rasheed Williams, the intended receiver.
Well, you know, again,
And 10 coming up.
Kingsway still an opportunity to tie this football game. It's just one big play to get into the end zone. But I have been impressed with Gilmore.
Yeah, so have I. I mean, I think a lot of people have been impressed with him and expect that this kid is going to have some good years ahead of him. I don't think there's anything that we've seen here today that wouldn't lead us to believe the same thing.
3rd down and 10, obviously 4-down territory despite being inside their own red zone. Gilmore. Quick drop throws, picked off. Betterson on his way to the end zone, touchdown.
Into the end zone with the touchdown.
Justin Betterson with the touchdown return. Kingsway puts the exclamation point to this one. It's now 20-6, awaiting the point after.
But Betterson just jumps right in front of that again. The Clearview pressure brought on, and not much. I mean, you can't ask your quarterback to be able to be under that much pressure and be able to deliver a quality pass. That time thrown a little bit behind the receiver, and Betterson takes full advantage. It's going to clear the stands with 56 seconds left. Pioneers going to win this game, and I get my good friend John Mondelli to give me another lunch.
Is there a particular place that you guys typically go? Or?
No, not really. We're big fans of Giannina's. And always, of course, Kirk's Deli. It's always it's hometown stuff, but we'll slip into Giannina's up in Woodbury. See Dan Pidcock. I can even invite Dan. He should come with me this time.
I think he will.
He deserves it. Yeah, he deserves lunch, and we can put it on John's tab.
Might as well bring Justin Betterson along too.
In fact, I might send out invitations this year.
Hey, when John's paying. I've eaten at Giannina's. I think I'll come along.
Yeah, I don't blame you. There's the trophy, coach's trophy. Nice looking trophy.
Well, we mentioned before that Kingsway held an edge, 12-8 in this series. It will now be 12-9. Clearview inching a little closer.
McCaffrey is going to kick a squib kick.
Squib kick picked up
Tommy Dixon.
at about the 33. He'll return it 10 yards, and Kingsway will take over with 56 or 50 seconds left. A brand new stadium, a couple light bulbs out on the scoreboard. That'll probably be the next thing the Football Booster Club tackles here, but a beautiful facility here at Kingsway High School.
Nice. Really nice. I think it was overdue, especially for us, because we used to go into that teeny little box they had across the way. It was a difficult press box to work in. So we were thrilled to death when Kingsway was coming to build a new press box. The stands are terrific. Nice job by everyone.
It really is all about us, isn't it?
Yes, I like to think so.
First down and 10 for Gilmore and the Dragons. King.
And off right side, Ryan King.
Back, and still not much there. Clearview has really controlled this line of scrimmage and played a complete football game. One big mix-up on special teams, and that really counted for Kingsway's 6 points, although they didn't score it off of the special teams blunder. It came as a result of it.
Tackle there by Eric Lasowski, playing his final game as a Pioneer in number 71. I can't say enough good things about him. I think he's also one of the most improved players for the Pioneers. Nice day, even though we're going to have a loss here for Kingsway, they honored the championship team here with Group 2 champion 2001, I believe it was.
This will likely be the last play.
Handoff,
And a handoff to Williams, and that will do it. Clearview victorious in their Thanksgiving Day rivalry game, 21-6 over their arch rival Kingsway Dragons. A 7-3 mark to end things for Dan Pidcock and the Pioneers. A fine season all in all. Again, coming up one power point short in the playoffs. But all in all, a fine season for these Pioneers.
Yeah, I mean, finish off at 7-3. And a real nice year for Coach Pidcock and his staff. Quality team, lost a lot during the off season, and again, you know, he seems to make the most out of what he has there for Clearview. And for Kingsway, brighter days are ahead, obviously, with the amount of young players that are on this team. Again, it's not important to rest on that. You have to be able to work out during the off season, do the things that are necessary to improve. Otherwise, you know, you'll be stuck with those same shady records. Clearview, they'll graduate some quality guys, but there'll be some quality guys that'll replace them, and there's no one better than Coach Pidcock and his staff to be able to get them ready.
Well, again, Kingsway falls at the hands of the Clearview Pioneers here on Thanksgiving Day by the score of 21-6 from my partner, Shawn Leary, my director, Stan Ritter, and all the crew. I'm Rob Christ. And on behalf of everyone, I'd like to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for joining us. Good night, everybody.